Shalom and welcome for this week's Hebrew class. And this week we are beginning a new chapter, and we are beginning Yahusha, which is John 13 verses 1 to 5. So let us now begin. And as every other time, I've put up the Nikud, the vowel markings, and useful resources which are very helpful in going through our Hebrew. And of course the chart reveals how we use our vowels in a very basic way. And now let us begin. And of course Aleph represents 1, and we will do the letters just as we do every week. For anyone who's relatively new, we go Vav, Lamed, Fe because there's no dot there, Nun, Yod, Chet, Gimel, Hey, Pei because of the dot, Samek, Chet, Kaf, Shin, Yod, Dalet, Ayin, Yod, Hey, Vav. Remember that's an U sound, but Shin, Ayin, Kaf, Yod, Veyet because there's no dot, Aleph, Hey, Shin, Ayin, Tav, Vav, but it's an O sound because of the dot above, the Cholom. And this is a Lamed, Ayin, Veyet, and Resh. Now let's begin reading. The Lifnei, and before, because Lifnei it's always translated as before, right? And before Chag, meaning the feast or the feast of Ha-Pesach, which is the Passover. Keshe Yada, like that he did know. Where there's no pronoun, it's a he. And it's Yahusha or Yahusha, ki, that, ba'ar, to come, because it's like that's a directional hey, say, because we know that bo, ba means to come, right? So to come, shato, his, our, the O at the end is his, and then we got sha'at. In a singular form, sha'ah is a feminine noun for hour or time. And of course we have yada here from before, which is a col verb to know, to be familiar with, to be aware. And then we have vor, meaning to cross over or to pass over, right? And down here we've got avar is a col verb to pass, to cross, to go over. So, in the normal English, before the feast of the Passover, when Yeshua knew that his hour had come to depart, meaning to cross over, right? Okay, now let's read that. Without any help. The Lifnei Chag Ha-Pesach Kesheyada Yahushua ki va'ar shato la'avor. Right, and part B now. We have a mem, a nun sofit, hey, ayin, vav, lamed, mem sofit, mem at the end of a word. Hey, zayin, hey, aleph, lamed, aleph, Veyet, Yod, Vav, Kaf, Aleph, Shin, Resh, Aleph, Hey, Veyet, Aleph, Tav, Beyet, Chet, Yod, Resh, Yod, Vav. Now let's read. Min, meaning from. Ha-Olam, meaning the world, from the world. So Yeshua is departing from the world. Hazeh, this. L2. Aviv, meaning his father, to his father. Ka'asher, like that. Ahav, meaning he loved, because ahav means to love. Et, grammar marker. Bechirav, his chosen. How do we get that? Literally, it's like, if we look down here, Bachar is a col verb to choose, to select. So, Bachir means chosen, and the vav at the end is him. You could almost say it's chosen of him. So, translated, he's chosen to depart out of this world to his Father, just as he loved his chosen ones. Now let's read that part of the verse, which is min ha'olam hazeh el aviv ka'asher ahav et bechirayiv. And now we turn to part C of that. And again the letters. Aleph, Shin, Resh. Bet, Ayin, Vav, Lamed, Mem Sofit. Kaf, Nun Sofit. Aleph, He, Vet, Mem Sofit. Ayin, Dalet, He, Kuf, Zadi Sofit. And it is Asher, which can be who. It can be used as that which, but when it's to do with someone, then it's who or whom. Who were, and then we have Ba'olam. Ba is in, Olam, the world. Ken, so. Ahevam, he loved them. In this form, with the zere underneath it, it's also like a completed action. So as he loved, it's a completed action. Ad, until, ha-ketz, meaning the end. So it's his chosen ones, from the previous verse, who were in the world. So did he love them to the end. And I just included ken as an adjective or an adverb. Yes, so, thus, truly, sincerely. It's all the ways you can use it. Okay, now let's read that. Asher ba'olam ken ahevam ad ha-ketz. And now I've got two, and it's represented with a Veit, which is the second letter of the alphabet. And then we have Vav Yod, Hey Yod, Bet Samek, Ayin Vav, Dalet Tav, Hey Ayin, Resh Veit, Vav Hey, Sin this time because the dot's over there, Tet Nun Sofit, Nun Tav, Nun Sofit, Beit Resh Lamed, Veit, Yod Hey Vav Dalet Hey. And now let's read it. Vahi, and it was, often translated, and it came to pass. Bisudat, bisudat. So what does that mean? In the meal. So of course the bet is in. So let's have a look at the rest of it. So uda, that's the singular form. Feminine noun, it means meal, dinner, feast. Right, so therefore this also means in the feast, in the meal. Ha-erev, the evening. So therefore the evening meal. V'ha-satan, v'ha-satan, and the Satan, the accuser, natan, meaning placed it, or the word is more used as to give, so therefore gave it or placed it. Belev, meaning in, and lev is heart, in the heart of Yehuda, or Judas, right? The English is, and it came to pass at the evening meal the devil placed it in the heart of Judas. Now let's read that. Vehi bisudat ha'erev v'ha satan natan belev Yehuda. And part B. And again we have a Vayet, a Nun Safit, a Shin, a Mem, an Ayin, a Vav, and a Nun Safit. A Lef, Yod, Shin, Kuf, Resh, Yod, Vav, Tav, Lamed, Mem, Samek, Resh, and Vav. And it is then Shimon, the son of Shimon. Ish means a man or a man of. Keriot, the districts. So we know in scripture it always says Judas Iscariot, but actually it means Judas, a man of the districts. Le Masro, for his handing over. Right, for his handing over. So let's have a look. Masar is a kol verb to deliver, to hand over. So that's how we, and then of course it's his, is the O at the end is his, for his handing over. In the heart of Judas, the son of Shimon, Iscariot, to betray him. That's normally how it's translated. Now let us read that. Then Shimon, Ish, Keriot, Le Masro. In part 3, we see there's a Gimel. And that's the third letter of the alphabet. Then we have a Vav, Yod, Dalet, Ayin, Yod, Hey, Vav, Shin, Ayin, Kaf, Yod, Nun, Tav, Nun, Safid, Aleph, Vayet, Yod, Vav, Aleph, Tav, Hey, Kaf, Lamed, Bayet, Yod, Dalet, and Vav. Of course, remember they got the sound of the vowel mark, which is an O sound there, and this is also an O sound, right? So let us begin. Va yeda, and knew. We know that it's from yada, which is to know, but it's got a different vowel marking, and it's got the vav in front of it, which reverses the tense. So it means, and knew Yahushua, or Yahusha, ki, that, because ki can be that, because, for, but that is in context. Natan, had given, because Natan means to give, right? Aviv, his father, et, grammar marker, hakol. Literally it means the all, or we could translate it as everything. Beyado, be is in, yad is hand, and the o is his. In his hand, into his hand. Yeshua knew that his father had given into his hand everything. Right, now we read that. And it is va yeda Yahushua ki natan aviv et hakol beyado. And we're in part B, and we have a Vav, a Kaf, a Yod, a Mem, an Aleph, a Tav, an Aleph, a Lamed, a Hey, Yod, Mem Savit, Bayet, Aleph, Vav, Aleph, Lamed, Hey, Yod, Mem Savit, Yod, Shin, Vav, Vayet. And it is the key, and that, Me'et, from, and then the et is a grammar marker, right? And then it's Elohim. Elohim. Ba, he came. There's no pronoun, so it's he, and it's came. Because it means came or come, right? He came. In context. The El and to Elohim. And to Elohim, Yashuv. Yashuv. He, because there's no pronoun, will return or shall return. Because the yod is the shall part. And shuv, we know, means return. Everything into his hand. And that he had come from Elohim, and he would return to Elohim. And then we read, the ki me'et Elohim ba, the el Elohim yashuv. And now we come to verse 4, which is represented with the dalet, the fourth letter of the alphabet. And the letters, vav, yod, kuf, mem, savid, mem, ayin, lamed, hey, shin, lamed, chet, nun, savid, vav, yod, fe, shin, tet, aleph, tav, bet, gimel, dalet, yod, vav, yod, kuf, chet, mem, tet, Pei, Chet, and Tav. Let's read. Vayakam, and he arose. How do we get that? Because yakam means to rise up, right? And with the vav in front of it, it reverses the tense, so he arose. It's like a finished action. Me'al, which literally means from upon or from on. Ha-shulchan, the table. Shulchan means table. Vayif shat. Vayif shat. So, what does that mean? And remove. So we know with the two pronouns here, it means that it's a completed past tense action, right? So let's have a look what pashat means. It's a kal verb, and it can mean to remove one's clothing. It also is used to remove skin, to skin an animal. But pashat, written like this, looks very similar. As a masculine noun, it means literal meaning when we talk about biblical commentary. So it's interesting how words can be very similar but have totally different meanings in the parts of speech that they are. And then we have et, grammar marker, begadayev. Begadayev, which is his garments. The vav at the end is his. And begadeh means garments. And then we have vayikach, which again is and took. How do we know it's took? Because of the two prefixes, which tell us that it's a completed action. And took mit pachat. Mit pachat. A towel. So if we look down here, mit pachat is a feminine noun, and it can mean these things: handkerchief, shawl, wrap, towel. So it can be used for more than one thing. It's not specific, I guess. So he arose from the table and stripped off his garments and took a towel. Now let's read that. Vayakam me'al ha-shulchan vayif shat et begadayev vayik Kach mit pachat. Right, next part. And we're in part B. And this is an interesting one because it has so many of these shavas there. So we go a vav, yod, chet, gimel, resh, and hey. Remembering that that all the other vowels except the one which is patach is said after the consonant, not before. So all the other ones are said after, so this one's said after. Right. So we get ve, che, ge, re, ha. Just again. Ve, che, ge, re, ha. Right? Ve, che, ge, re, ha. And enwrapped. Literally, it could be and enwrapped it, because the hey is like a pronoun there, and enwrapped it. And they have and enwrapped himself. But it literally just means and he enwrapped it. He took a towel and enwrapped his waist. That's how they translate it. And remember that chagar is a kal verb to gird, to encircle, or to even wear a belt. And now let's read that again. Ve, che, ge, re, ha. Right. And now it's a hey, the fifth letter of the alphabet. And that's why they use it. And we have a vav, a left, chet, resh, yod, zade, kuf, mem, yod, mem, safit, bet, kaf, yod, vav, resh, vav, yod, chet, lamed, lamed, resh, chet, zade, sofit, aleph, tav, resh, gimel, lamed, yod, tav, lamed, mem, yod, dalet, yod, vav. Now let's read it. V'achar. Achar means after, and after. Yatsak. Yatsak. He poured. Mayim, meaning water. Ba kiyor. Kiyor. So what's kiyor? Kiyor is a masculine noun for basin, sink, or wash basin. So in, that's the ba, kiyor, in a basin. Vaya chel, and began. So chel, again, is to begin, right? So yachel means to begin, and vayachel means and began. So it's a past, it's a completed action. Lir chotz, lir chotz. Rachatz means washing, so to wash. Et, grammar marker, rag le, meaning the feet of, with that ending, with the zero there. It means of, so the feet of. And then we have tal mi dayev, meaning his, that's the vav at the end. Literally, it's like saying disciples of him, or his disciples. After he poured water into a basin and began to wash the feet of his disciples. Now let's read it. V'achar yatsak mayim ba kiyor vayachel lir chotz et rag le talmidayev. Right. And now we're in part B of 5, and we have a vav. Of course, it's a new sound. Then we have a lamed, a nun, a gimel, a vayet, because there's no dot. Then we have a bet with the dot, a mem, a tet, a pei, because of the dot, chet, tav, aleph, shin, resh, hey, vav, but a new sound, and then a lef, chet, gimel, vav, but an u sound, a resh, a bet, and a hey. And remember that when we see a white letter like this one, it means it's silent. And normally the Aleph by itself will be silent and the Ayin by itself will be silent. And let us read. And it is Ul Nagev. Ul Nagev. And to wipe dry. So Nagev is to wipe something dry, right? And there's Pa Mit Pachat, meaning in or with the towel. Asher, that, who, he. Chagur had been wrapped. So it's a slight different form of chagar, which is a code verb to gird, to encircle, to wear a belt, right? But now it's got an extra letter in there, and it's changed it to being a completed action, had been wrapped. And then ba, unlike the other one that we had, this one, the hey at the end is like a pronoun, but it can be a thing as well. So therefore the ba is in and the hey is it, in it, had been wrapped in it, of his disciples, and to wipe them dry with the towel that he had wrapped around him. That's just how they translated it. All right, so we read that and we get Ul Nagev Ba Mit Pachat Asher Hu Chagur Ba. Right, very good. Now we come to the revision to see just if we remembered much of what we went through. And again, of course, an Aleph, meaning it has a value of 1. And then we go the Lifnei, and before Chag, the feast, Ha Pesach, meaning the Passover, Ke She Yado, like that he knew, Yahusha, ki that Ba'ar, to come, Shato, his hour, La'avor, to cross over, to pass. And before the feast of the Passover, like that did know Yahusha, that to come his hour to cross over. Men from Ha'olam, the world, Hazeh, this, El to Aviv, his father, Ka Asher, like that, Ahav, he loved, Et, grammar marker, Be Chirayev, meaning his chosen. From the world this, to his father, like that, he loved, grammar marker, his chosen. Asher, who were, Ba'olam, in the world. Ken, so, Ahevam, he loved them. Ad, until, Haketz, the end. Who were in the world, so he loved them until the end. And then we come to Vayet, which is 2, a value of 2. Vayhi, and it was, and it came to pass. Bis udat, in the meal. Ha-erev, of the evening. The ha-satan, and the Satan. Natan, he gave or he placed. Belev, in the heart of Yehuda, of Judas. And it was in the meal, the evening, and the Satan placed it in the heart of Yehuda. Ven, there's no dot there, Ven, son, Shimon, of Shimon. Ish, a man, Keriot, of the districts. Le Masro, to hand him over, or for his handing over. Son of Shimon, a man of the districts, for his handing over. And then we have Gimel, third letter of the alphabet, value of 3. Vayeda, and knew Yahushua, ki that Natan he was given, or he gave, Aviv, his father, et, grammar marker, hakol, the all, everything, bayado, into his hand. And knew Yeshua that had given his father, grammar marker, the all, or everything, into his hand. So that often the way we translate is by looking ahead at what comes after it, so that we get the context as well. It's very important to know the context as well. And now we get the key, and that me'et, from, with the grammar marker, Elohim, ba, he came, the el and to, Elohim, Yashuv, he shall return, or he will return. And that, from grammar marker Elohim he came, and to Elohim he will return. And then we have a dalet, value of 4. Vayakam, and arose, me'al, from upon, or from on, ha-shulchan, the table, vayif shut, and removed. Because pashat as a verb means to remove. Et, grammar marker, begadayev, meaning his garments, vayikach, and took, mit pachat, a towel. And he arose from on the table and removed, grammar marker, his garments, and took a towel. Vechegereha, and enwrapped it. And he enwrapped it, and enwrapped himself. And now we come to Hey, which has a value of 5 because it's the 5th letter of the alphabet. And we read the char, and after yatsak, meaning he poured mayim, water, ba ki yor, in a basin, vayachel, and began, lir chotz, to wash, et raglei, the feet of, because of this ending, it's a construct form meaning of, the feet of Talmidayev, his disciples. And after he poured water in a basin and began to wash, grammar marker, the feet of his disciples. Ul nagev, and to wipe dry. Ba mit pachat, in the towel or with the towel, Ashir that, who, he, chagur, which is, had been wrapped. So it's like a past tense. Ba, meaning in it. To wipe dry with the towel that he had been wrapped in it. So, right, that brings us to the end of verse 5. Remembering that I'm giving you as much detail about each word as possible so that you understand prefixes, suffixes, the root words, because once you know the root word, you can see the prefixes and what they're meant to do, and whether they're a prefix or not. It just helps us in translating it, and with constant practice, you'll improve a lot. So, then we come, of course, to our valve markings, and if we just look at, say, the top row for now, we see that even the valve with the dot above it, it's called a cholam, and it changes the valve from being a vav to being an O sound. So therefore it's cholam. And then the shava is more or less, it can be silent and it can be vocal. But if it's vocal, it's a very short E sound. So rather than, it would then be like a, if you look at the name there, it would be shava, shava. It's a very short E sound then. Or it's just shva. So often it will be very short, and it literally breaks the word up into syllables. And then we have se-gol. Now, just as the name represents, it's se, very short E sound. And then when we get this one, it's tsere. So it's a longer E sound, often transliterated as EI, but I don't necessarily like EI. EY would be better, but just a long E. So it's zere. And then we have the straight stroke, which is called a pa-tuck. As again, the A sound is very short, pa. And then when we come to this one, it's a longer A sound, ka-mats, ka-mats. So that's how we remember them. That's a kamatz, that's a patak, that's a zere, that's a segol, that's a shavar, and that's a cholam. Okay, that'll do. And of course, we know now that we got the aleph as 1, vet 2, gimel 3, dalhet 4, hey 5. But let us not forget, say the bottom line, tav, 400, shin 300, resh 200, and kuf 100. And our useful resources again, and I do pray that you are blessed by these lessons. They help you in your study of your Hebrew. And we thank you for joining us. And we wish you a Shavua Tov, a good week.